So I titled this Releasing Abusive Family, but I'm going to focus more on mothers, specifically black mothers, because that is the dynamic that I personally know the most. If other people have different experiences, though, feel free to share it because it's about releasing abusive family members. I stay on this topic because, especially when it comes to immediate family members, like
minute slowdown in 3 miles. You are still
okay, like abusive fathers, mothers, and just immediate family, you're always encouraged to try to work things out. Well, this is when we get to the point where you have to release them. See, they're responsible for their own healing. And whatever they've been through in their life really isn't your problem, because now you know, see, the thing is that you have to try to break the curse. You have to try to break the generational curse in case you might have children. You don't pass it to you don't pass it to them, and then they carry the curse. Or even if you don't have children, you don't carry this dark cloud around you your whole life, because when you don't break that particular curse, that negative energy, that dense energy around you, then those negative patterns, then no matter where you go, you can move 1,000 miles away from your mother and your father, whoever it is, and the same type of situations will still follow you, because those same type of energy patterns are still stored. Okay, they're still there. Okay, so that's what I was talking about. But releasing abusive family, and specifically black mothers, specifically mothers, period. But I'm talking about black mothers. Because something that I was thinking about, although a lot of black males have been terrorists in black neighborhoods, they have been some of the number one terrorists of black women and girls when it comes to aggression, as far as rape, molestation, and crime. They have been the most physically aggressive, but abuse. When I've talked to female friends, and just those that I've heard of online, a lot of their abuse still continues with their mothers. Okay, you know, I had one friend. She's a physician. Okay, and she talks often about her mother. Now, she's not a person who was molested or raped. So a lot of people who have poor relationships with their mothers is not always because they were molested or raped or something like that, or physically abused in any other kind of way. So a lot of times their mothers still carrying some kind of pain from whatever they've been through as a child, or it could be from their marriage. They don't deal with it, and then they project that onto their daughters. They put that on their daughters for because to some kind of way, to release it some kind of way, they continue to put onto their daughters. And so she would constantly tell me about how negative her mother was towards her. No matter what she did, it was never good enough. Her mother was always just very negative, just nitpick her, and had negative things to say. See, that's psychological abuse. That's really psychological abuse. And my friend at the time, I mean, she's over 40 now. What is she? 45 now. At the time, she was, when she told me this, she was like in her late 30s. And the psychological abuse continued. So even though some of these fathers might have been absent, because I think her father was absent, even though some of these fathers was absent, you have her mother who continued psychological abuse nonstop. Every time she would see her mother would find something negative and nitpick on her all the time, till it just really, depressed her. And there was another one that said the same thing when I moved here to Los Angeles, California. And it was another one. She kind of grew up in the hood, but see, because another transition. Now here's another one that's more extreme. You problem with black people. It doesn't even have anything to do about how much money you have. This is a serious problem with black people. And see, this is a woman who is a physician who's going to have to detoxify herself from her mother's influence. And this is a doctor. This is a doctor. But because she has dealt with so many years of that psychological abuse, it's still going to take years for her to heal from a lot of that damage. You see what I'm talking about? So it doesn't even have anything to do with income, not all the time. And so this other woman that I talked to, now I met her when I was doing play. I moved to Los Angeles to try to get to, because I wanted to get into film more. Even though I'm an occupational therapist, I've been doing that for 15 years. I wanted to move to Los Angeles to get into more film. But so when I was around her, she would talk about how her mother, she would always do stuff, try to hustle because her mother always needed money. And then she would talk about also how her mother always criticized her. Her mother always had something negative to say about her. The same story, the two different lifestyles, but the same doggone story. Now, I don't know if she's been like physically or sexually abused in any kind of way. That part I don't know. And same story with me. With my mother. My mother is a physician. She's retired, a doctor. Okay, once again. And she has been very financially. She has been there, but she is a pathological liar. She had a lot to do with keeping. When my father died, her husband, she had a lot to do with keeping the wheel away from me, even though my brother, I believe, has been put in charge. She had a lot to do with agreeing because she completely lied and said that there's nothing was left for me when I know something was left for me because I have a way of communicating. Okay. So she's a pathological liar. She lied on me so many times. Things happened to me as a child, and she called me a liar. Okay, called me a liar. And see, you're still expected to hold all of that in. As a daughter, you're still expected to hold all of that in and make it work with them. And it can't work like that. In order for you to get real healing, it's best to separate from the people who keep causing you psychological trauma. And unfortunately, in a lot of black women and girls, it's their mothers. It is their mothers, even though they might have, many of them have some pretty bad experiences with black males. The psychological trauma of a lot of the long-lasting psychological trauma is from this mother. Okay? I just happened to click on a video today and I didn't know who the person was. I saw the title of the video, right? And it was talked about, I have something to say about black mothers. I think that was the title of it. I have something to say about black mothers. And it was something Whole Academy is spelled Heaux Academy. I can't remember the whole title of the YouTube username, okay? But the title of the video was saying is something I want to say about black mothers. And I know she went by Sunshine on another page. And she started a new channel. And she showed a video of this 21-year-old young lady who was fussing with her mother, arguing with her mother. Her mother was just acting ghetto and wretched as all get out. And the daughter seemed to be making more sense, talking about, see, this is how we end up like this. This is how we end up crazy because of these mothers like this. And she said that she had been touched ever since I think she was about 7 years old. She had been touched by her mother's boyfriends or whoever else she would have let inside the house. But instead of her mother taking responsibility and protecting her daughter from predators, she turned around and accused her daughter of taking her boyfriend.
In 2 miles, take exit 19 for Fullerton Road.
Okay, that's my little GPS. So I'll end this soon. instead of her mother taking responsibility, she accused her daughter of taking her boyfriends ever since she was 7 years old. I'm gonna cut this short because I think my GPS gonna start talking again. But that's what I'm talking about right there. See, that woman needs to get away. That young lady needs to get away. She don't need to be up there trying to fight with her mother like that. Her mother, it's time for her mother to work on her own healing. Okay, so about releasing abusive family members. Okay, so that's all I gotta say. The same thing. I just, I cut things off with my mother, because they refuse to take responsibility. And I'm not talking about somebody who needs to be a perfect parent. I'm talking about some very treacherous, diabolical things that some of these mothers have done to these black daughters. I'm not talking about no person not being perfect, not going to a ballet or some stuff like that, or skipping out on the PTA meeting. I'm not talking about no little stuff like that. Or maybe the daughter just want to get mad at some little petty stuff. I ain't talking about because the mother took her cell phone. I am not talking about no mess like that. I'm talking about some serious stuff that happened to black girls that's really common in the black collective, whether they rich or poor. Okay? And so, with that being said, your mothers, these black mothers and black family all together, these black parents, whoever, they're responsible for their own healing. It's not up to you to work it to make things work with them and to heal them. They need to work on healing for themselves. Okay, they need to work on healing for themselves. And whatever they've been through in their life at this point is not your problem, because they don't projected so much of their experiences and hardships on the daughters, and about the daughters. They don't projected so much of their hardships and problems on you that you ain't got time to be trying to help them no more. Okay, so they need to be released. They need to seek healing however they can. Okay, no more excuses. Okay, and for you to get your proper healing. And with that being said, I will talk to you later. Okay.